I mean, I don't think you can generally be the greatest teacher you can without forming that connection, period. I mean, I spend my first 2 months getting to know every little thing about them, siblings, parents, family, what they do after school, who their friends are, their interests. If you don't have that, and it's not just getting to know them, you also have to reciprocate that.
Yeah.
I mean, for example, today they're learning about ancient Rome. And I said, oh, like Miss Cramer, her ancestors from there. We got a conversation. I said, I've been there, and they wanted to see pictures. And, seeing those pictures of just from Google, that doesn't mean anything. When they saw that connection, and then we went off of conversations of kids who, especially your military, who have been all over. And okay, it might have not been the ideal district 25 minutes of social studies that they wanted about Rome, but it generated conversations, and we got to talk about it, and my kids got to learn about each other and even different parts of the world. And I just feel like without that, you're just teaching mannequins. As best I can say it. If there's nothing there, they're staring blank at you, you're staring blank at them. I mean, I've had tremendous breakthroughs. My one kid last year, I can write a whole book on everything about him, because yes, I did spend 6 months out of the 10 months of school just getting to know him, because if I didn't have that 6 months, the last 4 months, he would have not even grown or done the schoolwork that he wanted to. And you have to work with them. And yes, you're going to have admin and all these people breathing down on you, but they also need to understand that if you don't connect and you don't create this bond with your kids, they're not going to respond. They're not going to do their best effort. They're also not going to feel comfortable enough to tell you if they need help, or if it's their off day, or something's going on in their family. I mean, I've had kids who come up to me and say, I got into this really big fight with my mom this morning, and I'm not going to have the best day today. And you just give them all that love and that grace, but you need to have that relationship in order for them to tell you that, instead of getting upset and saying, hey, why aren't you doing your work? You're slacking off today. That's just going to put them in a flight or fight mode, and they're just going to completely shut down.
Yeah.
If it's, you say, you know what, I understand. You had a hard time this morning. Do what you can today. Come sit next to me. It's fine. And it's not the easiest thing to do. And yes, it adds more onto your plate during the day, but it can give a better outcome and a better relationship with them.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's so important. And I feel like too, sometimes that given a student that 20-minute, put their head on their desk and head down, you can then get 40 minutes of productivity versus all 60 minutes of just them not wanting to do anything.
Exactly.
And they feel protected, and I think that's something that not every classroom has. But if you can build that community, build that sense of trust, it comes from being genuine. It not just and I love what you said about, it's not just getting to know them, it's showing them who you are. I think is so important. I do want to talk about our friend Egg. Obviously, we can't name names, but but speaking, because I think he's a great example of some of the real challenges that we face with those students that are really in need in so many ways, and yet how he responded so much differently to you. Do you feel like what were some of the positive outcomes, but some of the obstacles that you had to overcome with winning this person over? Because you did a tremendous job with this person, this student who was struggling really to find a positive identity.
I mean, I'll be honest, I had a lot of people coming to me that my first year teaching last year, coming to me and putting all these ideas in my head of what this student was like. And I honestly took all that and I threw it out the window, and I said, I don't know this kid.
Yeah.
Honestly, they don't know this kid. They haven't taught him. Do not feed me information, because at that point it's just hearsay. And he walked into my room. He came in. I remember he was one of my first students that walked to my room, hood on, saggy jeans he had his Chromebook, and he plops in the back of the room and just threw his Chromebook down and put his head down. And I said, good morning. And I addressed his name. He just stared at me. And that probably went on for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
No response, nothing. Sat in the back of the room. And I was like, what am I going to do with this kid? I went to admin, they gave me some ideas. And one of the things they did, I took his desk and I attached it to mine. And I said, we are one. And he just looked at me and he was just like, thought I was crazy. I said, you're my buddy. So we're going to hang out. I said, I'm going to get to know you.
Awesome.
And as you know, he had this idea of no one cares about me.
Mm-hmm.
I've been walking around school for years. No one cares. They really don't. They just see me as another trouble kid. And he would tell me multiple times, no one cares about me here. Why does it matter what I do? Why does it matter I succeed? Everyone thinks I'm a troubled kid.
Wow.
And this isn't something I've never exposed to anything that. And as you know, from that day forward, he kept he would not test without his desk touching my desk, even if I wasn't sitting at it. It was just that connection, and he would do all of his work next to me, no matter what group I had. And, we worked on reward systems and this and that, but I made it a point to myself, and not just really him, but to all my kids,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to learn at least one thing about my kids today. And I still do it every day. No matter what it is, it can be the smallest thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to learn one thing today. Because I know I've taught them a bunch, but what am I learning? I need to learn something about them.
That's tremendous. And being a student of your own kids, being
Mm-hmm.
being a student of them. And, that's a class. It was a Carol and Ann Tomlinson. She talks more about it in relation to like how students learn. But I think it's so important. You got to know who you're teaching. You can't
Mm-hmm.
feed a closed mouth, and in order to get them to be responsive. But that's just tremendous. Here's this kid, and I know more about that situation than we've talked about, than we can
Mm-hmm.
publicly say. But here's a kid that had been written off. He was being told by administration and faculty that he's a problem kid. And he's seeing that, and he's just like you said. If the fact that he's saying nobody cares about me,
Mm-hmm.
and then you show up, and it's like a divine hand. It's like, here you are, like here's this one person that cares about me, and he wasn't a dummy.
He's very smart.
Very smart.
Kid.
And do you think sometimes though, like it's like, sometimes that's all the kids need is somebody to believe in them, and he's going to remember that the rest of his life.
100%. And our relationship was 1,000% built on trust. And this kid, from the day I met him, we do eyes. Our things was eyes, and I would say eyes, and he would do it back to me. And I said, you need to always tell me the truth. And I said, if you always tell me the truth, I will always believe you. And he, to this day, and this is very hard to say with a lot of kids, has yet to lie to me about everything. He is so open. He'll find me in the halls and he will tell me things. And I know if he tries and he does a little side eye and I say, eyes. And he goes, Ms. Cramer, eyes. Okay, this is what happened. Because I told him, I said, I will never get upset with you. I will never yell at you. I will never be mad at you. Now, I will be disappointed in the choices that you make. That is something completely different.
Mm-hmm.
But I said, this relationship is built on trust. And if we don't have that, this isn't going to work.
Catch full episodes of the Educators Podcast every Thursday at 4 p.m. Real educators with the real issues in education. Thank you so much for watching. And of course, take care of yourself. Genes passes for anyone who likes, shares, and comments on this video. Have a great week.